What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to another video. Today, we have a lot of NASCAR news to cover, so strap yourselves in for this one, because we got a lot to cover. Let's just jump in straight into it. So, Jeb Burton is going to drive 2 races for the Nice Motorsports truck. The 2 races that he will drive will be Atlanta and Michigan. Good luck to Jeb Burton on that. I think he'll have some decent success. I think he'll also have pretty decent success in the Junior Motorsports Camp this year. But good to see that he will be giving an opportunity to drive for Nice Motorsports. Good stuff on there. So, a lot of people have been wondering if NASCAR is going to be running the carousel again at Sonoma. That is the case. NASCAR to run the carousel once again at Sonoma International Raceway. So, the stages are going to be broken up like this. So, it'll be first one, stage 1 on lap 20. The second stage will end on lap 40. And the final stage is going to end on lap 90. Similar how Watkins Glen does it. I think Watkins Glen does 20, 40, and 90. Similar how the Cup Series does it at Sonoma. So, good stuff there. On to the next story, and this is a really cool one. Jimmie Johnson is going to be the Grand Marshal at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He will be inside the car, and it will give the drivers or gentlemen start your engines from inside the cockpit. So, really cool stuff there. Good to see there. Homestead Miami Speedway has unveiled their name and logo for this year's Xfinity Series race at Homestead Miami Speedway. It is going to be called the 2020 Census.gov 300. That's a pretty cool name, not gonna lie. Good that at least this race is still getting sponsored. I thought it was gonna lose sponsorship after, the Xfinity Series after it got moved from the championship weekend and Ford's not sponsor anymore. So good at least it's got a sponsor. So, for those of you who might be going, who were wondering, are they going to be open to the grandstands at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the next-gen test? Yes, Atlanta Motor Speedway to open the grandstands for the next-gen test on March 16th. So, it looks like this test is going to be public. We don't know which driver is going to be testing the car at this moment. Most likely going to be a Ford driver because they've done a cycle of Chevy, Ford, Toyota, then went back to a Chevy driver. Most likely it's going to be a Ford driver. It's probably going to be a younger Ford driver because they've been testing a lot of younger drivers. Maybe it'll be Brad Keselowski, who knows, but we don't know who's going to be testing it. But really cool that they're going to be opening up the grandstands for the next-gen test. Paint scheme news. Velveeta will be sponsoring Ryan Preece's car this weekend at Phoenix International Raceway. Personally, I like this scheme. It looks really, really cool. It's on the screen for you guys right now. I think it looks really, really cool. More paint scheme news. Plan B Sales is going to sponsor Noah Gragson at Bristol International Speedway. Plan B Sales has been sponsoring a lot of drivers in the last couple years. I think they came into the sport about 4 or 5 years ago to sponsor drivers, mainly Chevy drivers. It seems like they love the Chevy drivers. Of all the drivers they love the Chevy drivers. But yeah, I like this scheme a lot. I think Plan B Sales has been doing a lot to fund the sport, and I appreciate what they have done for the sport, especially. Now we get to one of the biggest news stories and one that will take me a little bit of time to discuss. Aaron McLaren Schmidt-Peterson has acquired the number 48 from Dreyer Reinbold Racing for use in IndyCar. At this moment, there are no plans set between Johnson and McLaren yet. This has come from Adam Stern. And, very interestingly enough, they will be testing next month at Barber Motorsports Park. Jimmie Johnson will be, I should say. Let me just say this for the record, this is one of the bigger parts of the episode. I do believe that Jimmie Johnson will be driving next year in IndyCar. I don't know how many races he is going to run next year for this organization, but it will be probably on a part-time basis. He'll probably run, I would say 4 or 5 races. And they will most likely be on road courses. Maybe the Indy 500 possibly, because Jimmie Johnson at a test back in the day said, no, I don't want to do it. But then he was asked, this year during the test when he was out there and being hosted by McLaren, he said that it's a possibility that he might be interested in maybe running the Indy 500, maybe possibly in the coming future. Maybe. I don't see Jimmie Johnson running 500. I see him running a few road course races for the IndyCar Series next year. He's been getting seat time, and they sent him over a number 48 simulator car that they could use. And I think it's very interesting that Jimmie Johnson could be running IndyCar next year, and it's cool that they have acquired number 48. It's probably happening. I see it happening. When they acquire that number 48, that's an iconic number. NASCAR is iconic for Jimmie Johnson. I think it'd be fit perfect for Jimmie Johnson to drive the number 48. So yeah, that's one of the bigger news stories of the episode. Now we get to a really just a dumb story to talk about. So, Brian France is suing Drunk Brian, the Drunk Brian France account. Yeah. There's a lot to say about this. So, John Steele, the owner of the Drunk Brian France account, like I just mentioned, is being sued. So, Brian France alleges that he's been impersonating, harassing, and targeting the third-generation former NASCAR leader, which is Brian France. He has caused emotional distress due to highly offensive tweets. He is looking for damages in excess of $15,000 as well as a jury trial. Let me just say this for the record. I think this is something we kind of need to watch, not just in the NASCAR world, but in all of social media in general. Because if this case does get up to the Supreme Court, which I don't think it's going to happen because it's very unlikely this is going to get up to the Supreme Court because the First Amendment rules. And when you are a public figure, you are able to get criticized. When you're a big public figure like that, you are open to criticism. I don't understand in any shape or form why Brian France is even in general suing this account. I understand you're upset, and I can't completely blame him for being upset. Have I always supported the Drunk Brian France account? No. I've been kind of one of those people who really doesn't care about the Drunk Brian France account on time. But right now, I'm supporting in general for the Drunk Brian France account because it is ridiculous that he is suing him. I think it's dumb in general. First Amendment, like I said, you're open up to a lot more criticism. And I just think it's ridiculous that we have a public figure, Brian France. And this is another issue of the old media and old people, older boomers, clashing with the newer media. Because back in the day, traditional media and stuff, you never had people being able to clap back. In this new media, especially, these guys can clap back at you a lot more easier. And I think that Brian France doesn't completely understand it. I can't blame him. He came from a different time. And then he alleged in one of his documents that he was from the 2003 to 2018 was like the big era of NASCAR and led into a great era. I'm like, are you sure about that, mate? Did you see the numbers that you caused? And Brian France had not been in the spotlight for 2 years after his DUI arrest. He was doing good things. He was owning a pretty good financial company, it seemed like. And then he comes back and sues a company. Mate, come on, man. Really? This is absolutely ridiculous. Drunk Brian France, if you go to case, I'm going to be supporting you. That sucks that you have to even go through this crap, mate. Because this is ridiculous. I got support, man. Hope, if you do go to court, hope that it goes well for you. Now to the next story. Noah Gragson was called to the hauler on Friday morning before practice for over-aggressive driving. So there are two instances I'm going to talk about here. So, he intentionally spun my signer. If you look at the replay of the crash coming down the front stretch, Noah got into him. That straight up was dumping. He completely got into him. I cannot defend that at all. That was a horrible thing that Noah Gragson did. Sorry. And I just think that Noah Gragson got to learn, man. And then he went up the racetrack and just got into Ross Chastain. Noah, what you doing, mate? I've been supporting you. And you get into it with people. Come on, man. I love you, Noah, but at the same time, dude, you got to use your head a little bit. I understand you're young. You got time. I got faith in you, my man. But you can't be doing that stuff. Can't be getting into wrecks and intentionally spinning people down a straightaway. I understand you're upset, but especially when you have 180-mile-an-hour cars, and we just had a crash with Ryan Newman, and he could have been killed. You got to be a little bit more careful what you're doing. I understand boys have at it as is a thing, and I understand that, but at the same time, you got to use your head. Noah, I love you, man. I respect you a lot. I just wish that you use your head a little bit. Now to the next story. Ryan Newman has been at the racetrack and visiting it this weekend. He has stated that he has no idea when he will return to the racetrack, but he also stated that he feels fine and it's great to be alive. I'm very happy that Ryan Newman is back at least at the racetrack. It's good to see him back, man. To see him at least at the racetrack is a positive feeling for NASCAR fans in general, because we miss Ryan Newman on the racetrack, man. We miss him blocking people on the racetrack. But yeah, Ryan Newman, I miss you, man. I hope to see you back in the racetrack before the end of the year. But take as much time as you need, because I respect your privacy. I respect your decision to take some time off, because it's good for you, man. Good stuff there. Now to the next story. Motors Trend will be sponsoring Corey LaJoie at this weekend's race at Phoenix, which will be promoting its NASCAR All-In project. I do like the scheme a lot. It looks really good. A story that I haven't covered up to this point, Chase Elliott has revealed his Hooter scheme for Atlanta. This is better than the Night Owl scheme. I love the Night Owl scheme a lot, but this scheme is better. And not only that, the 24 number that he used to run in the Cup Series is back. It just looks really incredible. And I'm glad that he is getting sponsored by Hooters, and I'm glad that Hooters continues to be involved in the sport, especially with Chase Elliott. Now to the next story. Echo Park Automotive will be sponsoring the Atlanta Xfinity Series race. Good stuff. More people coming in to sponsor and help NASCAR. Good stuff there. And finally, the Veteran Tickets Foundation and Camping World is going to sponsor this weekend's Truck Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I love that. I love that we get to hear a lot more stuff good on the sponsorship side. Good stuff to hear from there. So yeah, there is all the NASCAR news that I have not covered in the last 3 days. So, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on so you can be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on all my social medias. Links in the description below for that. And comment below your opinions on today's video. And discuss your opinions on a lot of stuff we talked about today. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. And I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.